Breaking news, folks, breaking news. Small Business Superhero Podcast has just landed.
In this episode of the Small Business Superheroes Podcast, we're going to talk about DeLorean relaunching with an EV. We're going to talk about Tesla's pitch-perfect marketing and how DeLorean plus Tesla equals a 1,000 IQ move.
All right, so 1,000 IQ move. Okay, before I go too fast here, what does that mean, 1,000 IQ move, to you?
So DeLorean has its absolute cornerstone niche in the public psyche in America.
Yeah.
In North America.
Back to the Future.
Worldwide, really, but in the developed world, Back to the Future,
Back to
man.
the Future, yeah.
It's absolutely there. If it hadn't been for Back to the Future, DeLorean would not be remembered the way that it is today.
Yeah.
But by the same token, if the time machine had been anything other than the DeLorean, I don't think Back to the Future would have been what it was either.
What if it was like an 84 Camry?
In the first draft of the script, it was a refrigerator.
A refrigerator?
A refrigerator. Doc Brown made the time machine out of a refrigerator, a lead-lined refrigerator. Yeah.
So it's like Bill and Ted's phone booth.
Yeah.
Just kind of like...
Yes, pretty much. You know, you've got TARDIS, you've got Bill and Ted's phone booth. It's like, I mean, Bill and Ted is remembered. We loved it, but it's not the way Back to the Future is.
No, okay. So,
And actually, when they were making the movie, they'd rewritten the script so that it was going to be a car. Ford came to them and offered them money if it would be a Ford Mustang. And the writer looked at the guy from Ford and said, "Listen, guys, I'm sorry, but Doc Brown doesn't drive a Mustang."
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Mustang just doesn't... Well, maybe because I'm so used to DeLorean, but in a different parallel universe, Mustang just wouldn't feel right?
No, it wouldn't. It's not right.
Yeah.
The universe did not want it to be a Mustang. They wanted it to be a DeLorean. And the reason I say that DeLorean plus Tesla is a 1,000 IQ move, because we've talked in the past about how Tesla doesn't do any official marketing, but Tesla's marketing is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It permeates culture. It permeates pop culture. It permeates tech culture. It permeates geek culture. All the different subcultures in the world are having their Tesla fanboy moments. DeLorean is the same way. So,
DeLorean fan base has been around for since the 80s.
Yeah, since the 80s.
Since they stopped making them.
Yeah. And the DeLorean vehicle itself had that futuristic look back then, and it had the gull-wing doors, which everyone loved. It was made out of stainless steel, which everyone loved. But
that sounds a lot like the Cybertruck.
Yes. Yeah. Indeed. Also a genius marketing move.
Okay, well, continue on. I'm starting to catch on what you mean. Go ahead.
And so the DeLorean having its futuristic look and having the stainless steel and the gull-wing doors and the way that it's put together, it was already really rumbling and making waves in pop culture back then in the 80s, 81, 82.
Yeah.
The thing about it, though, was that the actual critics of vehicles kind of panned it because it was really heavy, which meant it was also really slow as a sports car. It was expensive, it was slow as a sports car. And so when the Back to the Future movie came along, John DeLorean was already getting into trouble. He was already having the issues that were going on with him and the legal system, and we're not going to beat that horse to death. But
right.
The fact that they chose a DeLorean for the movie gave brand new life to DeLorean Motor Company. And that life is going on today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's not only are there DeLorean owner clubs, there are Back to the Future Time Machine owner clubs. There are companies that you can go to take your DeLorean to have it outfitted just like a Back to the Future time machine.
Really?
Yes.
So there's a sub business to outfit DeLoreans.
Yes.
To look like Doc Brown's DeLorean.
To look like Doc Brown's DeLorean.
That.
And they'll do it up to different versions, because you've got the Back to the Future 1 version where it was the plutonium loading chamber in the back.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
And then the garbage one.
The Mr. Fusion. Yeah.
And then, I don't remember the third one. Was it steam or something?
So the third one had white wall tires, because without going too far down the rabbit hole, the tires had rotted off of the first DeLorean. And so in 1955, Doc Brown had to resurrect the DeLorean by putting 1955 white wall tires on it. Yeah, and he had
my gosh.
Yeah, he had to retrofit Mr. Fusion, and it was a whole thing. And so the number 3 looks different from number 2. Number 2 looks different from number 1. So you can place your custom order for your time machine. Which version do you want?
Okay, so So why all of a sudden is DeLorean coming back? What's the big hoodoo? Gas prices are crazy. It's heavy, man, stainless steel. Are they trying to be like Tesla? Explain to me.
So there was a guy that bought DeLorean Motor Company intellectual property, the name, and all of the back stock, all the parts that they had, all the cars that were still unsold. He bought all of it. So he owns DeLorean.
Right.
Well, now DeLorean Motor Company is relaunching with an EV. So they knew they were going to relaunch.
Electronic vehicle.
An electric vehicle.
Electric vehicle.
And so they
electronic would okay. Electric vehicle.
an electric vehicle.
Yeah, I got you.
So they knew they were going to relaunch with a vehicle.
Right.
And then they settled upon, if we're relaunching DeLorean as a new vehicle,
Do it Mr. Fusion style.
do it Mr. Fusion style. It's got to be electric. And so they're coming out with an electric vehicle.
Okay.
Now, here's what I'm thinking, okay? What I'm seeing and putting together, I feel like one of two ways. If they're doing what I think they're doing, it's a 1,000 IQ move. And if they're not doing what I think they're doing, but they're going ahead and letting people believe it, it's a 1,000 IQ move.
Okay. Okay. Because now I'm starting to get kind of like, so explain to me, what do you mean by that? Do what they're doing and maybe if they're not doing.
Okay, I'll say it outright.
Right.
I think that DeLorean is going to be licensing its batteries and powertrains from Tesla.
Okay.
That's what I think. And I'll point out the signs and symptoms of what makes me think that.
Now, yes, because you showed me a video a minute ago, and to my untrained eyes, I thought I saw something, but you explained it perfectly. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay, so there's a YouTube video of the new 2022 DeLorean EV being released.
Yeah, you just type in DeLorean EV teaser into YouTube.
And it's black. It's a black shot with reflection of white light off the body of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It shows the doors coming up.
Yes,
the classic like hawk doors. I don't know what you call them.
Gull wing.
And then it showed the front grille, which was very odd how they did it. It was on purpose.
Yes,
The front grille of a DeLorean is very flat. It's flat. It's a small rectangle.
that's the classic DeLorean design language. The
Okay.
DeLorean had this very signature design
Yes.
language, and it comes down almost to a point,
Yeah.
and then it's flat there where the headlights are. It's
So-
DMC.
Yeah. So in this teaser video, this little streak of light goes and goes zoop 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 like a long line with a V.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll put it on the screen.
I think I'll try, but we'll explain it first. So that design was intentional because of the way they put it last, and it looks like a part component of the Tesla logo.
Yes.
So that you're saying is if DeLorean is secretly working with Tesla because Elon Musk is an 80s fan,
An 80s junkie.
80s junkie.
At the Cybertruck unveiling event in 2019, there was a Back to the Future time machine. We just said that you can take a DeLorean and have it retrofitted to
Right.
look exactly like a time machine from Back to the Future. At the Cybertruck unveiling event, there was a DeLorean time machine there. And ostensibly, it didn't seem like it needed to be there. It's like, what is this here for? What is this? Why is this here? What's the
Is
connection?
it because it's stainless steel body as well as
At
the
that
Cybertruck?
point, nobody knew it was stainless steel. Nobody knew the Cybertruck was stainless steel yet.
Oh.
Yeah, this was the pre-game party in the parking lot. They had all kinds of attractions in the parking lot for people to party before going in and seeing the unveiling. So nobody knew the Cybertruck was stainless steel. But it's clear that, yes, it's a nod to it being stainless steel, but it's also a nod to Elon Musk's love of the 80s and 80s science fiction.
So what you're broaching is it is not impossible to think that Elon Musk said, hey, you know what? Let's go together and make a DeLorean all-electric vehicle.
What if you were DeLorean? You're the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just a guy who bought the DeLorean intellectual property, bought the name, bought the rights to make the car, and you said, I want to make an EV. Who do I get to do the best EV for me?
So who has that sense of personality
Who
to
has
do
that sense of personality? Exactly. Yes, and Elon Musk, we know, he stole his product roadmap from Spaceballs. He said it openly at the Model S plaid unveiling event. He said, basically, we stole our product roadmap from Spaceballs. He said it outright.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that type of joke, and to have ludicrous as one of the speeds in your car, to have your radios crank up to 11 as a nod
Spinal
to
Tap.
Spinal Tap. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic 80s.
So in February, Car and Driver magazine had an article in February in that article, they were talking about the relaunch of DeLorean and an interview with the current owner of DeLorean.
Right.
And they asked him, okay, so what's the story on the relaunch? What can you tell us about the new car? He said, it's going to be an EV. It's going to have a range of over 300 miles, Tesla being one of the only companies on the planet who can make that in an EV. And he openly said, we are not going to be making the powertrains or the batteries. This was February, last month. February of 22, in a Car and Driver article, he said, it doesn't make a sense for a company as small as we are to try to vertically integrate the powertrains and the batteries. So we're going to get a third party and license their technology.
Who else can do that?
Who else?
Right now, the only company I know that can do that successfully and have success with it is Tesla. And I'm not a electronic vehicle guru or a fanboy like you are, but I know that Toyota doesn't have one that can do what Tesla does. Chevy tried to make one, and I hear it's not doing that well.
Well, GM has had great success in licensing their Ultium platform. The problem is they've not had great success in actually producing and providing it to anyone.
Oh, okay.
Perfect example, the Nikola Badger. Nikola being a company that hasn't actually produced anything yet.
Nikola, like Nikola Tesla?
Like Nikola Tesla, yes. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
They woke up one day and were like, yeah, let's just use the first part of the name for us. And that's a whole other podcast for a whole other time. But they had this vaporware truck, allegedly, do your own research. They had this vaporware truck, allegedly, do your own research, that was a photoshopped picture on their website, but never actually became a truck. And General Motors went into business with Nikola saying, our Ultium EV platform will be provided to Nikola. And they went into this, some number of billions of dollars arrangement. Well, that evaporated, and they never actually provided the Ultium platform. That's happened a couple of times now with GM, where they've said, okay, we're going into business with so-and-so, we're going to provide our Ultium platform. That's how, but it's not actually been done yet.
Maybe their standards are too high, or maybe nobody can meet the standards of a Tesla.
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
What we do know is that GM has talked about and officially inked deals here and there with different companies. So it is my current belief that DeLorean is going to license powertrains, motors, and batteries from Tesla. The nod is there. You saw it in the teaser trailer. Because if you then Google the front of a Model S, you can see that exact design language of the front of a Model S that was shown at the front of that DeLorean, but it's all shadowed. And so it's a teaser. Like we say, it's a teaser. And then to have in Car and Driver, the owner of DeLorean saying what he said about, we're definitely going to be licensing powertrains and batteries from a third party. Then, I don't know if you've seen it, Expedition Unknown Back to the Future. On Discovery Channel, there's a special.
About, what is his name?
Josh Gates.
Kind of a bigger guy. He's blonde or red or something. I can't remember his hair. But yeah, I'm just talking about. He's all over Discovery.
Big smiley guy that has fully 50% of the Discovery catalog.
He does.
As Expedition Unknown Aliens, Expedition Unknown Ghosts, Expedition Unknown.
You're saying he did something with a...
Yeah, they did a miniseries. I think it was 4 or 5 part miniseries about Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
And the short version is Doc Brown told him, we need you to go and find one of the DeLoreans from Back to the Future and provide it to the Fox Foundation so that they can auction it off in support of Parkinson's research. That's the premise. But the way they unveiled the premise is that Josh Gates is walking down a dusty road somewhere and doing his Josh Gates thing, where he says, the concept of time travel goes back to the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Babylonians. Officially, the word time machine was coined by H.G. Wells in the book The Time Machine.
Right.
However, the concept, and then you hear the distinct DeLorean coming through time sound, and he looks. And sure as anything, the time machine comes through time and comes to rest directly in front of him, but it's not the DeLorean. It's a Tesla Model X. Now,
does the Model X's have the bird doors?
It has the Falcon wing doors.
Oh,
yes.
that's it.
So the gull wing doors, they hinge on one hinge. They open in kind of a solid state arc.
That's the DeLorean.
That's the DeLorean. The Falcon wing doors, obviously, that's a nod to the DeLorean. Elon Musk has said it. It's not a secret. But it hinges in 2 places so that the opening arc, it can be different based upon the needs of the space that you have available.
Spot at Walmart or something. Well, you ain't shopping at Walmart. Just saying. You might go be Pier 1 or something.
You know what? You and I have personally seen that $153,000 car in the parking lot of Walmart. It was way away from everything. I don't know what. Shaquille O'Neal shopped at Walmart. He said it in an interview.
I don't know if he can fit in that thing.
It's not, I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is that they had turned a Tesla Model X into Doc Brown's time machine. It had a Mr. Fusion. It had those big, giant trapezoidal exhaust ports, everything.
On the Tesla?
On the Tesla in this Expedition Unknown show.
So why then? Why would that?
It's got to be a nod or a hint. And here's the thing. Just like I said a minute ago, if DeLorean and Tesla are going into business together for Tesla to license their powertrains to DeLorean, and this is the way they're kind of hinting at it, it's 1,000 IQ marketing.
I got you.
It's beautiful because we're grabbing onto it. We're talking about it right now. Others are going to talk about it if they haven't started already, and it's going to churn itself into a giant fireball frenzy of marketing. And if they're not doing it...
I was going to say, what is the opposite if they're not doing it?
If they're not doing it, but they're still allowing these little nods and these little hints, because DeLorean loves Tesla, Tesla loves DeLorean, they can still nudge and nod and kind of point at each other, even if they're not doing it. It's still a 1,000 IQ move because people are going to talk about it. It's going to be very symbiotic for both companies.
It's going to help out DeLorean. It's going to help out Tesla.
Absolutely. So it's a 1,000 IQ move because other companies... Car and Driver says, well, where are you getting your powertrains? Well, we're going to use the Ultium platform from GM. No excitement, doesn't matter. But because they said, well, we're going to use a third party. We're going to get
third party.
We're going to license battery and powertrain. It's going to be over 300 miles of range. Just saying. A company as small as we are, we can't vertically integrate everything. Now,
that's called a clue.
It's called a clue, especially since Elon Musk. The phrase vertical integration is on the tip of his tongue every time he does an interview. Yes, we want to be 100% vertically integrated. He just now, in the past couple of weeks, started releasing statements where he says Tesla is going to scale to enormous size and be 100% vertically integrated. And for the guy from DeLorean to say, well, a company as small as we are, we don't need to try to vertically integrate everything.
Using the same sacred words.
Using the same sacred words and the same icons.
Has anybody else
Tesla.
thought of this, or are you the first, you think?
I highly doubt that I'm the first to think of it. I haven't heard anyone else talking about it. I haven't seen anyone else talking about it. There's no way I'm the first to think of it because it's a 1,000 IQ move. I'm not a 1,000 IQ guy. But I think it is genius, absolute genius on both parts. Both sides of this are coming out with genius levels of marketing. It's going to be gigantic. Mark my words, it's going to be a humongous frenzy, whether they're doing it for sure or not.
Gotcha. So the evidence is here. Put together a puzzle. We have this teaser video of DeLorean. DeLorean's from the 80s. Elon Musk loves the 80s. DeLorean's a time travel and stainless steel vehicle. Okay, so Elon Musk has a stainless steel truck that he had at his show. There's Doc Brown cameo, pulls up in a Tesla on an Expedition Unknown.
Yes.
Okay.
The nod to the design language is there, and then the official verbiage used in that article with Car and Driver. The official verbiage.
Third party. What's that mean?
Oh, but
300 miles. There's only one company that does that.
Yes. Well, there's not only one company that does that. Lucid does very high mileage EVs as well. But Lucid's vehicles are extremely, extremely expensive. Lucid targets a very high dollar demographic, the wealthy, affluent demographic. They do have a vehicle that purportedly can get 500 miles of range. I don't know if anybody's actually taken delivery of that vehicle or not. I do not know. That's one I don't know.
Okay, but to say it like that.
So to specifically say, it'll get 300 plus miles of range, and a company our size doesn't need to try to vertically integrate everything.
Vertically integrate, sacred language.
It's vertically integrate, that sacred language for Tesla. The concept of vertical integration is a business manufacturing concept, but it's Elon Musk that's popularized it in the common lexicon right now because he's always talking about it. And he very recently said, Tesla's target now is to scale to enormous size and maintain 100% vertical integration.
Well, as simpler than that is that Elon Musk is he just works on different theory. He likes to put little nods into his company.
Yes.
Little things. So if DeLorean was like, man, I really want to make an EV vehicle, I could see Elon Musk going, let me help you with that because I love to have a DeLorean Tesla.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if I'm Elon Musk, knowing what I know about the way his brain works and the way his marketing acumen
Makes you smirk. He smirks about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like right before they announced the stock split, Tesla announced the stock split. Elon Musk put a tweet out there that said, "Does anybody else feel like the Tesla stock price is a little bit high right now?" And so people are like watching we normies, we of mortal intelligence, we're thinking to ourselves, "Oh no, there's bad news coming, and the stock price is going to slip." No, he announced a 1-to-5 stock split, which cut the price of the stock, individual shares, down to 20% of its original. I didn't put that together. It didn't occur to me because I'm of normal intelligence, if not slightly below average intelligence. Elon is playing on a whole different playing field.
Well, yeah.
A whole different playing field. And he could definitely get an audience with DeLorean. Definitely. We know that.
Yeah.
Elon wants to come see the factory. Yes, he can. He can
Please.
come. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sit down and be like, "Listen, let's do it like this. Everyone will be talking about it." And we are.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep talking about it.
Well, all right. So I am the mad scientist.
And I am the Barbarian.
We are with the Small Business Superheroes podcast. We are powered by
AMSdynamics.com, and this has been your clinic on marketing provided by DeLorean and Tesla.
Yeah, because they are the non-marketing companies.
I mean, this is subconscious marketing at its absolute finest. This is an absolute clinic on how to do it. Absolute.
So check out the DeLorean teaser 2022 YouTube. It's a quick little, 20-second commercial.
Yeah.
And put in the comments what your thoughts are about that. Like, do you see a nod to Tesla? What's your opinion? When I see it, I'm like, Tesla, but just that little dip, like the dip in the
It's
tea.
like a little wink to Tesla design language. Yeah.
So check us out. Also, we're on all the podcast platforms. If you want to listen to our podcast, you can pretty much go to any platform and find us, the Small Business Superheroes, AMSdynamics.com. And we are on YouTube. We're on Patreon. Check us out. Like and share if you find value in this.
Yeah,
also,
like and subscribe.
Send letters if you want to. Get your grandma to write you a letter, lick a stamp, send it. We'll read it.
The old snail mail concept.
Yeah.
If we get one piece of fan mail off of you saying that'd be completely.
I'm gonna read it on air.
I will read it on air and write back to the person.
There you go. So snail mail is what we want now. Email's so 80s. Yeah. Let's go. We're like hipsters going back to records and snail mail.
I do like records.
Yeah. Well, it's another whole podcast talking about records.
Yep.
Thank you all for listening.
Extra, the Small Business Superheroes podcast on all of your favorite podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and many more. Small Business Superheroes is powered by AMSdynamics.com.